Julia, we're now on the topic of Gen Z. What is Gen Alpha?
That's a good question. Ain't Gen Alpha like 2020s? Or like maybe like 2015, 2020s?
So they're up there.
I'm thinking like when I think of Gen Alpha, I think of like babies. Like I think of Gen Alpha like 2020. But I feel like is that even Gen actually yes, sorry, that is Gen Alpha 2020. Because how they describe it, they be like, ugh, their schooling is horrible. Yes, so 2020s.
What makes Gen Z different from millennials and Gen Alpha?
Okay, because Gen Alpha, you kind of can see them already, just a little bit. But I feel like with us, I feel like we are manipulated. Wait, we're not manipulated. I feel like we're manipulated. I feel like we are manipulated. I feel like there's definitely, it's not really that hard to manipulate us. Like, honestly, it's kind of even sad. I feel like you definitely have, I feel like if you want somebody to spend your money, you're gonna go to Gen X for sure because we're easily manipulated, we're easy to convince for sure, which is kind of sad, but it is what it is. So I think it's that I miss when we were the radical generation. I do, but apparently we're not anymore. It breaks my heart. It is what it is. But what makes us different? I feel like what makes us different. I think we're not. I want to say we're more practical, but what I mean by what I mean by practical is that like we kind of think like it's kind of like when we mean by more practical, there's some things we feel like shouldn't be said or we shouldn't have to do, right? It's kind of like so like example, it's kind of like if I'm working at an ice cream shop, right? And I scoop up the ice cream and I clean my scoop after I scoop up the ice cream, right? And my manager tells me, "Hey, don't forget to clean your scoop after each ice cream." That's stupid because it kind of is like, why are you telling me something that I'm already doing? So I feel like that's kind of the difference. We're kind of just like, I feel like, yeah, that's really a difference. We just get annoyed at stupid little stuff that didn't have to be said.
You being a Gen Z, how do you feel like individuals in your generation were able to acquire their identity?
Wow. I feel like, well, I think it's different cases. Like for me, I figured out my identity because I was always different and weird. I was always the different, weird Oreo type of black girl. So, like, I feel like for me, I always had people talk about, like, why are you light skinned? Are you black? Are you sure? Are you mixed? So I feel like for me, there were times where people would come up to me and says, "What are you? Who are you?" So I feel like for me, I really had to figure out who I was really quickly because if people came up to me with that question, I had to answer it, or else they would have defined it for me. So for me, a lot of what is my personality? Comes from TV shows, movies, for sure. None of it came from my brother, respectfully. But I think a lot of it came from like TV shows and movies. And I think in my environment, because I'm from Atlanta, DeKalb County, a lot of it came from environmental things. Actually, yeah, it came from environmental things. And people around me, I feel like people around me are really like not gravitated, but it's like I unconsciously took stuff from people, which is interesting now. So yeah, my girly personality comes from movies and TV shows. My more masculine personality comes from just having a lot of males in my life that I have unsubconsciously picked up my personality from.
Is Gen Z more independent or more influenced by social media than any previous generation?
You know what? Before Gen Alpha, it was us. We were definitely so influenced by social media. Before Gen Alpha's worse than us. It's definitely. I think Gen Alpha's definitely worse than us. For sure. I think we're like second. We're like second.
So would you say Gen Z is dependent on technology or you guys are just adapting to the times?
That's an interesting question. I feel like it's a little bit of both. I think no, we are. I'm not gonna hold you. Yes, we are. Cause like I have a terrible sense of direction. Do not give me a map. I even get lost with GPS. So yes, we are. We are dependent with technology. But I think there are some cases. Are they? I would love to think. I would love to think. I would hope to think there are some cases where we're not dependent on technology. I really do. In my heart, I really do. But like when I think about it, when I'm going home tonight, yes, I will be using my GPS. So yes, I'm definitely dependent on technology.
Which social media platform really defines Gen Z?
Gen Z, older Gen Z. Oh, I have to pick one. That's crazy. I would like to say older Gen Z, Kick. I think it was really kicking Instagram. They're really fighting with each other for sure. Younger Gen Z, I think it's TikTok for sure. Well, I feel like TikTok is us for sure, but I feel like the older Gen Z is really Instagram and Kick, and then the younger Gen Z is very TikTok. But it does influence us too, though.
So the platform you said would be Kick and Instagram.
Mm-hmm.
How about this? Break down all the social media platforms from a Gen Z's point of view.
Okay. So Instagram is for pictures. Instagram is for pictures. It's for posting your best life, posting your worst life, kind of posting your business, not posting your business, posting your personality. It's really just like posting who you are as a person through pictures or through words. And you being nosy in other people's lives. Personally, I think Instagram is for old people, but some Gen Zers have it. Facebook is really just for family. It's for like graduations. It's for birthdays. It's for family reunions. It's just for like family type stuff. TikTok is for TikTok is for TikTok is making commentary. Honestly, TikTok is kind of like a podcast, if I'm kind of being honest. But TikTok is kind of like you sharing your thoughts, like your wild takes. Like you just be like, isn't it wild how we pay for trash bags
You
and we have
said
to throw them
TikTok
away?
feels like a podcast. You said?
Yeah,
Okay.
I do think about it. It's kind of like, and you guys should share your wild takes. Like, don't you think it's wild how like we pay for health insurance and if we use it, they get mad?
I'm not gonna lie. TikTok is too fast paced for me.
Really?
Like
Yeah.
I was on there and I was like, I can't. Like I used to even promote my podcast through TikTok, but after 2 months I gave up.
Yeah, no, TikTok is there for fast pace. It's because our attention spans are like non-existent, so you kind of have to like get to the point for sure. You have to get to the point for sure. And then TikTok is definitely for I think it's definitely for like talking, and
Okay.
you can't say connecting, but it's definitely for like talking purposes in my eyes. I don't really use TikTok that much, so yeah, that's that.
So TikTok is for talking straight to the point.
Yes.
Not anything linky, like anything past a minute, you're gonna lose your view.
If you go past a minute, it has to be a really interesting story. Like you have to be like, hey, let me tell you about this horrible date I went on. Oh, that's interesting. I want to hear about this horrible date you went on. Yeah, so it's for story time. Yeah, for story time. And then what other apps there are they? Then you have Snapchat. Snapchat is for storage. Snapchat is for storage. It's for phone storage. It used to be for memories, but I'm not gonna hold you. If you still have Snapchat, that thing is for memories. It's for storage. Sorry. What other app are there? Just you said social media apps, right?
Yes, ma'am. But we can even translate to, because you broke down a good portion of them. We could even translate to the dating scene.
Oh, dating scene. Okay. I don't use dating apps because I don't want to get murdered. But
Okay.
I know Tinder, which is so funny. I feel like Tinder is kind of like the straight people version of Grinder. Grinder is for gay people. Then you have Nimble. Bumble. There you go. I was gonna get there. Bumble is for ladies get to pick the man. But then you have I said Tinder, and then you have Cupid, and I'm not Cupid.com or OkCupid. I know those. It's Tinder, Grinder, Bumble, Hinge. There you go. Hinge. Hinge is I think it's a hookup app. Or that's what they make it seem like. So those
So
are
what does Gen Z use?
Ooh, I have no idea. I think they market Tinder to us, but I don't know if we're on there, but I don't use it. So
Okay.
yeah, maybe Bumble. I think Gen Zs are on Bumble. And what's the other one? I just said it. Can't remember.
How has the rise of influencers changed what success looks like for Gen Z?
Very much so. It changed the whole world. I think it changed a lot. I feel like because with influencers show that you can do what you love and make a lot of money from it. And I feel like with us, we definitely want to do that. It's like I feel like with us, we definitely want to do what we want and make a lot of money for it. An influencer is just the person to be like, that is possible. That is possible. Like fashion influencers. Fashion influencers, they get free clothes, they get free makeup, free perfume, free purses. They get to go to runway shows. And their opinions matter. And their opinions matter. Because like if you are a fashion influencer or a style influencer, right? And if you have a really big following, at some point your voice matters in the fashion scene. And to me, that's important. But it matters in the fashion scene. So like at some point, not only do you get fame, money, recognition, your point of view matters in the world that you want to do. And then you have food influencers. I mean, I like a good little cooking video, so cute. Then you have product influencers, I guess. No, sorry, makeup influencers. My apologies. Yeah, makeup influencers. Makeup, I feel like makeup influencers kind of started the whole influencer chain, but at the same time, I don't really pay attention to influencers, so correct me if I'm wrong. But I think makeup really started the whole influencer genre with makeup. I feel like makeup, you really could rule the world as a makeup influencer. That's what it feels like. It just feels like you could.
The rise of influencers really shaped Gen Zs, but is there limitations as to how much Gen Z should listen to these
Yes,
influencers?
for sure. I think at some point, influencers miss, not, I don't say miss, but they forget the point of life sometimes. I don't say they get to the point of like but they forget how regular people live. Because I think like at some point, sometimes they just make really stupid comments, or they just make comments from their point of view where they forget there are other people. There are other people on the other side of the tracks, right? It's kind of like they're on the right side, we're on the left. It's kind of like they were talk from that side, but then they forget where they came from in some sort of extent. Because some people are like, oh, people don't want to work anymore. It's kind of like I had to build myself from the ground up, and it's like, girl, what are you talking about? So it's kind of like I think people forget. I think people forget the point sometimes. They miss the plot, as we say. They miss the plot.
Have you ever met someone that just lost their identity due to being lost in the world of social media and listened to the voice of
Um, a
influencers?
little. A little bit. I always just say a little bit because I feel like when I met some, I feel like, a little bit. And the only reason why I say that is because so back at SCAT, we have like fashion merchandising people, right? And I feel like there was definitely a difference between fashion merchandising people and fashion design. And I feel like with fashion design, we are the culture, we are the people,
Oh
we do
no,
set the
folks.
trends. So I feel like with fashion design, we are a lot more, I guess, like independent. We're a lot more self efficient. Like we know who we are. There you go. Like we definitely know who we are as a fashion designer. And I feel like with fashion marketing people, it just seemed like they were very trendy people, which makes sense because they have to follow trends to make money. So that makes sense. But it just felt like they were very trendy people, and it just felt like everything that they liked and what they were about, it only made sense with the trend that was happening at the time. So it's kind of like a lot of times they didn't really have their own like identity and personality. That's what it seems like sometimes. They didn't know their own identity and personality. But then like
Oh
the
yeah,
more like you knew them and you
dang.
talked to them, you said, oh, like no, you're just a
I'm
cool
impressed.
person. It's just like maybe on the outside you
Oh, how did
appeared
it go?
like that. For sure. Yeah, maybe on the outside you appear like that for sure. But yeah, I think the people that I've met that have been like that, it's been like in passing. It's been like in passing. Cause like it's like sometimes you can tell when people are just putting on a fake or a facade just for the sake of what's trendy right now. And it's kind of like you want to get to the heart of the person, but like it's kind of depends on where they let you in on that sort of thing.
It is possible for individuals who are in that Gen Z bracket to lose their voice from individuals that have bigger
Yeah, for
platforms.
sure. At least that's what yeah, for sure. At least that's what TikTok makes it seem like. TikTok makes it seem like a lot of people are just into this clean girl aesthetic, tried wife type of thing. It just, yeah.
So how do you know which influencer to listen to? Because nowadays it's so
Um,
easy to become an
yeah.
influencer. How do you differentiate between who's a good influencer versus who's bad?
Yeah. Okay. Personally, I don't really follow
Okay,
influencers because I'm like, I live under a rock. I live under a rock.
and that's amazing. That's
Yeah,
amazing.
I actually do live under a rock. I know. For me, you got to be talented. Like, if you don't have no talented, why am I following you? Why am I paying attention to you? That's always been my thing. Like, girl, if you wasn't in High School Musical, you ain't got no talent. So, like, I think that's the thing. I'm definitely big on you need to sing, dance, something, act. You can't just be showing me makeup. No. So I was never really a big thing of an influencer. My friends do keep me up to date. But for tips on how to look for a good influencer, ooh, I feel like it's kind of hard. I feel like each influencer is different. I feel like you should connect to an influencer that you like in a sense, right? I feel like y'all have the same thoughts, y'all have the same values, you have the same core values, the same likes, the same dislikes, I guess. So I feel like finding an influencer that you do connect with them on a personal level, if you can, I think that's like a great thing. But like, I don't follow them, period. So I'm not really the best person to tell you which one
And
to glue or not follow.
do you feel like by you being in that Gen Z bracket, not listening to influencers, do you feel like you've retained your core roots?
For sure. Yes. Because I feel like for me, I feel like I definitely had an influence. I've definitely been influenced, but not by influencers, right? I feel like influencers were just never my type of people. And I don't mean that in like in a mean or in a vindictive way. It's just like for me, my type of people are Broadway pop stars. Like when I was younger, Katy Perry was my influencer, right? Like she was just so weird and kooky, and she was just like bubblegums, cherries, that her first album. Oh, love that first album. But like, yeah, her first album, that was my influence personally. So like for me, I don't see any other people doing that influence like Katy Perry did. So I feel like for me, my influence was definitely more like pop stars or like characters that I like. But yeah, I definitely retain my core values
So, what
because
influences played a factor into shaping you into the individual that you are
ooh,
today?
and influencers are people that influence me.
Just people that influence you,
Ooh,
people
shape
that act as
me.
influencers.
Katy Perry for sure. She's a core memory. Not Raven, Raven Simone for sure. She definitely was a big influence on me, which is funny. I think there's still a lot of people that still influence me today to change up my style. Julie Andrews, yeah, she's definitely influenced me. High School Musical. I like that whole High School Musical song. Yes, has influenced me because when Gabriella was a smart mathematician, I was like, oh, let me actually be good at math because then I can get me a basketball player. Like that's how that happened. Who else really influenced me? China and McClain. Yeah, China and McClain influenced me a lot, which is interesting because we kind of grew up together. So she definitely influenced me. And is there anybody else who influenced me? Well, growing up. I just know now what influences me now is Chicago, the movie about two women killing their husbands slash misters. Yeah, yeah, I like Chicago now. But yeah, those are like the people that influenced me in my childhood, except Chicago.
Does Gen Z prefer flexibility and side hustles over traditional careers?
Yes, for sure. Yeah, I would say that because like being an influencer, it's now a career, but like I think it definitely started off as a side hustle for sure. And I love flexibility because the thing is, I feel like with us, we just want to enjoy life. We want to live life. We want to make mistakes. We want to travel. We want to eat. We want to spend money to do the things that we love and that we enjoy. And how can we travel if work can be like you only get 10 paid vacation days? What? What am I gonna do with 10 vacation days? No. So flexibility for sure because we want to do what we want.
During the COVID-19 pandemic, 2020, 2021, how did Gen Z react to it?
Older Gen Z, we was in college, so it kind of feels like our college life was taken away a little bit, and we had to do like online learning. I know a lot of people did drop out for online learning. I know a lot of people at SCAD did because we're like an art school. We're very physical, so to learn through a screen was a little bit weird. Oh, yeah, it was a little bit weird. So I know a lot of people dropped out. It's kind of just felt like we was getting our college lives ripped away from us when we really just started. Like I was a freshman when that happened. And I was like, bro, like I was living my best life. Like I just came back from Louisiana. I literally just had a boyfriend when the world was ending. So, you know, I was getting out there. I'm like a younger Gen Z, I do feel bad for because they didn't have a regular graduation. They didn't have prom. So I feel like with them, they was definitely robbed of the end of their high school experience, and I feel so bad for them. Like, cause I know for me, prom, I wanted to go to prom. I did. I went to both of mine, but like for me to not have a prom or graduation, oh, I would have broke down for sure. I definitely would have broke down. And a younger, so I think like older Gen Z, we felt robbed of our college experience, and a younger Gen Z, they felt robbed of really life. I don't say life changing moments, but really like important life moments that happen in every generation's life, but they got robbed of that.
How would you say that young Gen Zs and older Gen Zs were impacted long term by the pandemic?
Oh, I feel like older Gen Z, we were impacted by the pandemic, knowing that we can work from home. Definitely for sure. I feel like we can work from home where it can be, I won't say flexible, but like you don't have to be, you can work from home. But you don't have to work from home. You can literally work in a different country if you wanted to. So I feel like working became different from us. It was kind of like, oh, we don't have to be in office. We don't have to be in office. We don't have to talk to you. We don't have to like communicate with you. So I think like work, yeah. So I think like working kind of changed for us and what that looked like and what we wanted to do with it. Like virtual. Like I know some of us want to do virtual learning, not virtual learning, virtual working for sure. So I think our work definitely changed. For younger Gen Z, how it happened with them, I really don't know. I kind of have to ask like my cousin more about it because she's younger Gen Z. But from what I've heard, I guess from what I've heard, I think their sense of attention span is different. How they're learning is different. Maybe I think they missed some steps along the way during that time. So there's just some things where they may not have a comprehension of. But this is kind of me just guessing and going off of what I'm hearing. But probably ask my cousin about it.
How would you rate Gen Z's social conscious or self awareness compared to the previous generations?
Oh, not as high. Not as high as previous generation. Because, well, I don't think it's not as high because I feel like, well, I think when it comes to social issues, when it comes to social issues, I think that's the thing. I feel like social issues sometimes make us who Gen Z, social issues kind of make us who we are in a sense. So I think that's the difference. I feel like with us, like a social issue is abortion, right? I feel like you're definitely like you're pro abortion or you anti abortion, right? And I feel like sometimes we based our whole personality on that. Or let me say this. I think people base personalities off of that when it doesn't need to be, right? So it's kind of like, yeah, I know. So it's kind of for me, like, yeah, I think a woman should have the choice for sure. I think she definitely should have the choice, right? Some people are gonna see me as, oh, she's the pro-abortion lady, and it's like that's not my whole personality. I just think a woman should have the choice for sure. So I think when it comes to like, are we more social conscious in that sense? Yes. Every more like social conscious, like talking to people, interacting with people. But that happens differently. That happens differently. I feel like I feel like when we drink, I think we're a lot more social. I think Jay Z's a lot more social when we drink for sure. I don't know if we're as social when we're sober, but I feel like I don't know if we're as social when we're sober, but like I feel like with us, we're social when like we give a compliment to somebody, right? So it's kind of like for me, like if I see a pretty girl, I'm gonna tell her she's pretty, and then she tell me I'm pretty, and then we both have a conversation off of that. So I feel like we kind of have to feel validated. We have to feel validated when we first meet a person for us to have like that social interaction. So it's kind of like we can't talk to a random person if we have nothing in common with them, if we like nothing about them.
Why does mental health seem to be such a big focus for Gen Z compared to earlier generations?
Because it's been ignored in other generations. Like other generations didn't. It was kind of like other generations felt depression, right? But it's like they felt depression, but it's kind of like they didn't have the chance to really, I guess, like think about it and go through it, right? Like really think about it, really go through it, really, like process your feelings and stuff like that. And we seen it, and I think we seen how it affected them. We see how it affected them, and we kind of see it how it translates to. I don't say not translate to us, but we kind of see it in our point of view, right? So it's kind of like a lot of people ignore depression, a lot of people ignore postpartum, a lot of people ignore anxiety, and these are like very real things that people didn't like to talk about for so long because it was seen as like an illness or like a bad thing, especially with Black people, right? Because Black people was like, oh, because I think it was just how it was meant to be, not meant to be, but it's kind of like how I guess like how it was perceived, because like depression with Black people, they saw it as you had nothing to be depressed about. You're alive, you're happy, you have a job, you're married, you have kids. What is there to be depressed about? Because depression just means sadness, right? So it's kind of like if you have nothing in your life to be sad about, you're not depressed. And I think that's how a lot of like the Black culture see it, and probably like even other like communities of color have seen it for so many like a long time. So like with us, we like no, we do feel this way. Why I feel this way, I don't know why I feel this way, but let us talk about it and figure out why I feel this way. And then next, when we talk about it, we feel this way. That's when previous generations have like, oh, I have been depressed. I've actually have been anxious, but I was never able to feel that emotion because it wasn't allowed. Like you wasn't allowed to be depressed. You wasn't allowed to be anxious. You wasn't, you wasn't allowed to feel those emotions. So like now we know how important that is and how it can really affect someone's mental psyche for sure, especially people that like kill themselves. We like, whoa, like how do you get to that point and how can we avoid it?
Do you feel like Gen Z is the most entrepreneurial generation?
Because when you're an influencer, you're an entrepreneur. Yeah. Yeah. I feel like our entrepreneur just looks different. Our entrepreneur is TikTok. It's kind of like, yeah, it's like TikTok. It's like, it is our own, like, because we're our own business. Like for me, I can sell myself through the internet. That is entrepreneur. Well, in a sense of entrepreneurship. So yeah.
Okay, so now we're gonna talk about some Gen Z hypes versus some Gen Z facts. So give me 3 Gen Z hypes,
How would you describe a hype?
like something that's been overhyped, that's not the
Oh,
reality.
yes. Okay, Gen Z hypes. A hype about Gen Z is we don't want to work. That's a hype. Gen Z hype is we're sensitive. Gen Z hype is
I guess what I was trying to say is something that other generations think is true, but it's not the reality.
oh yeah, no. A lot of generations think we don't want to work.
Oh,
Wait,
okay.
yeah, no, a lot of generations think we don't want to work. A lot of generations think we're soft, and a lot of generations think what else do they think we are?
Oh, okay.
What else? They think we're radical, when that's proven not to be true anymore.
Oh, okay.
So yeah.
Okay. So now give me 3 Gen Z facts.
Oh, 3 Gen Z facts. We are. Ooh, okay, what are 3? I'm trying to make sure it's a broad statement. We are. What are we are? You know what? I think as a generation, we are really creative. I do. I think we're such a creative generation. For sure. I think generation we're creative. We're very experimental. I would like to say that is true. I think we're very experimental. We would try a lot of stuff. We would try a lot of stuff. We're very experimental. And funny enough, are we? And we are. I don't want to say happy because it's interesting. And then we are. What are we? That's the third thing. That's the third thing. All of us are, you guys. We are all. What are
Would
we?
you say that all you guys are liberal and
Liberal?
not so
No,
much
no. Actually, not all of us are
conservative?
liberal. No, all of us is like some of us are conservatives. Some of us are liberal. Some of us are conservatives. But we're not all liberal as people think we are. That's yeah. I'm trying to think. What all are we? Cause I want to make sure, like, if we say all of us, like, what
Oh,
all of
just
us?
general spectrum.
Yeah, I'm trying to make sure if I say general spectrum, like, yeah, that tracks. I think we're all creative. I think we're all experimental. I can't think of the third one, unfortunately.
Okay, no problem. No problem. Is cancel culture a Gen Z creation or something that just became mainstream through time?
I think it's a Gen Z culture for sure.
Okay.
Because I feel like previous generations, y'all wouldn't cancel somebody for the same reasons we would. So yeah, I think it's definitely a Gen Z thing for sure.
What trend do you feel like would define Gen Z the way MySpace defined millennials?
Ooh. A lot of people's gonna say TikTok, but I think it's the younger generation personally. So Instagram for sure.
Instagram.
Yeah, I think so for sure.
Well, to conclude, what do you think Gen Z will be remembered for in the next 20 years?
Influencer culture, for sure. I feel like in 20 years they're gonna be like, how did influencers start? Well, influencers start because a Gen Zer wanted to play with makeup for free.
How do you think Gen Z's relationship with AI and technology is going to reshape society?
I feel like we're older. I feel like older Gen Zers, I don't think we really like AI that much. But then at the same time, I'm speaking from like an artist perspective. So I feel like from an artist perspective, no, we won't like it so much. But then I feel like there are times where AI may be, I don't know. I feel like it's kind of like there's a chance we could. I don't know. I feel like we just have a weird relationship with it. Because on one hand, yeah, it can be a helpful tool, but we kind of know that that tool can be very manipulative. So I feel like with us, I think we're gonna have more of a negative relationship with AI rather than a positive one. if I'm really being honest. And I feel like with the younger Gen Zers, I feel like the younger Gen Zers will have more of a positive relationship with AI, but I think it's gonna warp a lot because like younger Gen Zers are not really as younger Gen Zers are kind of like they're not like babies, but like I think a lot of them are like high school and college. I feel like they would definitely use it as a tool. I just hope it doesn't warp their personalities. I do. Like I feel like they're at an age where maybe it won't, but at the same time they grew up with social media. So maybe it will warp their personalities. But I feel like it's not as damaging as it was to Gen Alpha. Like Gen Alpha and AI, it's gonna warp their personalities crazy, right? They're probably gonna be like, wait, people don't have six fingers? You know, that's gonna warp their personality. But I feel like with younger Gen Zers, I would like to believe that they are old enough and have some type of common sense to know it won't warp their personalities that much. But I think they're going to have a positive. We're going to have more of a negative impact on it.
I'm a millennial. You're a Gen Z. What's a way to bridge the gap to where we can leave a long-lasting, positive outcome to where generations such as Gen Alpha, which I didn't even know was a thing until doing this interview, until I did this interview. I'm a millennial. You're Gen Z. How do you feel like we can bridge the gap between both of our generations to where we could leave a long-lasting impact in society to where people 50 years from now are going to remember us for the root as to why they did what they did years down the road?
I feel like just communication because I know. So my boss, she's a millennial, and I'm a chronically late person. I am. I definitely get better. I'm a chronically late person. So like for me, she was just trying to figure out why am I so late all the time? But I think it's not about being late. It was just about my mindset. So then at some point we had a conversation, which is so funny because she had a bride that came in. She was like 23. She's getting married. I mean, love, right? But she was just like, they're just so happy, right? So I think like from that bride, we really had a conversation on the difference between millennials and Gen Zers and just how we view the world. And I remember I was talking to her about how we view the world just so differently. She's like, huh, I didn't realize this is how y'all view the world. This is how y'all see it. This is how we approach it. We was like, yeah. So I think like really talking to each other and really understanding where the other is coming from. Because I feel like millennials and Gen Zers, I think we do see the world differently, but there are some common ground. There's definitely like some common ground where we're just like, no, we definitely clock the same stuff. We're definitely understanding. Like I think both generations understand that the American dream is no longer the American dream. It was a false soul promise to both generations. Yes, I think we definitely can agree on that. But I think how we view other stuff in life is very different. So I feel like if we really have a conversation. I'm not saying like all millennials, all Gen Zers come together in this big tech talk. No, I'm not saying that, but I just feel like if a millennial and a Gen Z can talk to each other to see where the other is coming from and how we view the world, then I think we can really push forward because then we could be like, oh, I see where you're coming from. And we could be like, oh, that makes sense or that doesn't make sense. Or be like, you know what? You do have a point. We should change it. Because I think Gen Z, I would love to think Gen Z is still all about changing. I think we love to change everything, okay? Like I feel like I still don't like when people stand too close to me, right? Change that. I feel like, if you're sick, now we wear a mask. I'm not saying we changed that. It was mostly like a thing. But I think generation is all about change. I think if millennials can understand our perspective about that, then we can meet in the middle for sure.
Julia, thank you for this discussion.